Dupre was pissed off. He was in a hospital, and he didn't like hospitals. He looked at the bottle on the rolling rack, and then at the tubes that dripped the antibiotics into veins in his left arm. He glared at the peaks his toes made in the blue sheets. He pushed the covers back and swung his legs over the side of the bed. He stood up, put his left hand on the rolling rack, and walked out of his room and down the hall. "Good morning," said the nurse at the station. She was busily filling out forms.
"Good morning,"
said Dupre.
"Can I maybe get my clothes? Leave now?"
The nurse didn't look up from her records. "Dupre," she said, "quit whining."
"Yeah," said Dupre.
"It was the flat, hands-down worst appendix seen here in a long, long time. You waited till it busted. Time the surgeon got in there, it was a mess. If you'd come in when it began to hurt, you'd have been home. Several days ago."
Said Dupre.
"You cowboys," said the nurse, shutting one folder and opening another, "have the smarts of anvils. Make a good cowboy, you catch a sheep herder and kick his brains out."
"Yeah,"
said Dupre. "So why don't you go down to the kitchen and ask Isabel to make you some hot milk? It will help you sleep."
Hot milk,
Dupre thought.
Jesus. Hot milk.
The nurse looked up. "Look," she said, "you'll probably be able to go home the day after tomorrow. They won't be able to close up the wound until the infection is gone. You'll have to pack it, or have someone pack it for you. But the doctor will let you go Thursday."
"Oh," said Dupre.
A door banged. Boot heels sounded on the polished linoleum.
"Visiting hours. Visiting hours, you snipe-nosed pup. I came to see my illegitimate son, Gabriel Dupre. I'm his dear old daddy, though it pains me to admit it. Now out of my way before I stuff that flashlight up your ass."
The nurse looked at Dupre. "You have a visitor," she said. "Please go and see him. Tell Ron to come and see me." Dupre started to push the rolling rack toward the door. "Don't forget the hot milk," said the nurse, not looking up. Dupre pulled open the door. Booger Tom was standing there, with his bony old finger in the chest of a young security guard who was backed against the wall.
"Old man," said Dupre, "it is good to see you."
"It's past visiting hours," said the kid, looking terrified.
"I'm gonna kill him," snarled Booger Tom. "I am. Goddamn government interference everywhere a man turns. Can't even go and see his bastard son."
"Ron," said Dupre.
"The nurse. She won't talk to you."
"I'll scalp you," said Booger Tom to the kid, who was moving very rapidly past Dupre. Dupre turned and led Booger Tom down the hall to his room. He went in and sat on the bed and pointed at the flowered print chair.
"Jesus," said Booger Tom. "Folks die in these damn places, you know. Let's go."
"No," said Dupre.
"All right,"
said Booger Tom. He lifted the huge book he was carrying. Holy Bible. It gurgled. Booger Tom flipped up a port on the spine and pulled out a little spigot, and he went to the sink and filled half a plastic glass with whiskey. He ran cold water in the glass. He handed it to Dupre. Dupre swallowed it. He handed the glass back. Booger Tom mixed another. Another. Dupre finally sighed and sat back on the bed and pulled the rolling rack over so the needles in his arm wouldn't pull.
"These places ain't civilized," said Booger Tom. "They's dedicated to healing the sick, and you'd think they'd be civilized about it."
Dupre laughed.
"Man, I expect you can't smoke, neither,"
said Booger Tom.
"And screwing is out of the question."
Dupre laughed.
"No wonder folks die on the street," said Booger Tom. "Easy to see why they'd want to, being in a place like this."
"Yeah," said Dupre.
"So when is they letting you out?"
said Booger Tom. He had a sack of Bull Durham in his hand. He fiddled out a paper with his fingers and rolled a smoke, one-handed. He licked the paper and put the cigarette in his mouth.
"Well, yeah, I see it,"
he said.
"I gave you one of these, they'd throw us both out of here."
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it. at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.